right, everybody, a new CIRF report could mean the splintering of a paradigm, but I think at the minimum, we're going to see glimpses of what Dolores Cannon called the New Earth. We got a lot of reasons for that, a lot of them astrological, but even the collective unconscious seems to agree. Could be splintering into two different paradigms. I'm calling this, and it's a question mark, the Great Split, question mark. Don't worry, I'm not predicting that we're going to have this New Earth thing. We've done that in the past. It doesn't work out all that well. The probability of that happening in this week, probably small. It might be a long period of time, this slow splitting. Does anybody know? I don't even know. The Law of One talks about it. The videos with Dolores Cannon talks about it. And the I-Ching this week specifically says splitting apart. And it does have something to do with this. It talks about both trepidation and hope. But I will say that when you include the lines, the change lines 2 and 5, you do get a much more optimistic view of this splitting apart. So splitting apart, normally, if you just get the I-Ching 23, kind of feels edgy, anxious, great unknowns. But in this case, 2 and 5, specifically change line 5, we'll go into detail on that one, but very positive. And a lot of positive things happening in the astrology. 2 of our planets' rulers are coming to their home. Venus going into Taurus, Mars going into Aries. We have Mercury that is going to go station and direct right at the offset. I'll just show you the Dreambot real quick. That I couldn't place the Dreambot memes into the astrology. It just way too time consuming and cumbersome. But I believe it's like a direct relation to the splitting apart. You have the reptilians versus the Son of Man. Okay. Different reptilian words this time. So alligator goes away, snake comes in its place, but gator stays there. Crazy stuff there. I think I covered most of this. We have a last quarter moon this week. We are still in the first new moon period of the eclipse, our new eclipse from April 8th. It's an Aries. This is an Aries eclipse cycle, a 6-month cycle. It's also the Aries new moon cycle. So keep that in the back of your mind and let's get started. Big shout out to Keys to My Heart. What a wonderful handle. Name, and congratulations, 9 ups. That's awesome. And it looks like our solution page, which I personally value. I include those solution pages mainly for me, and also my suggestions for my clients, because we don't always follow what the energy is. You don't always just do whatever you feel. You have a choice, but if you're impulsive and don't know that you have that choice, then, well, you're just at the beck and call of your subconscious. So anyway, well done, and glad you have you here as an Aries, and you got to be loving this time period. All right, where do I go next? We get rid of this. I want to show you the Dreambot. All right, interesting things here. You remember the king? It was sort of the lizard king last week. It's the word king stays there, and it flips 180 degrees. Now king is more associated with Jesus. We had Jesus there for a while. He fell off of the Dreambot runs. Now he's resurging in the collective dreams. So we have King, Jesus, universe, Sunday, and men. So I'm thinking that just sounds like the Son of Man to me. And then we have the pilot theme. Look at this linguistics. Set number 1, passenger 2024, plain scary. To me, that points to, and these words have been elevated for many weeks now, but this linguistic set to me just directly correlates to these Boeing scares and people talking on social media about don't go flying. Like, it's not me saying that. I personally don't really feel like flying right now, but that even adds to the anxiety of just imagining flying right now. And then the linguistic set number 2, lost universe glowing. Seeing a lot of pictures of the wider universe, and it does seem to be glowing. But the word alligator is gone. Gator is still elevated. And I am checking these words to make sure there's not some sort of corruption in the Dreambot. All these words up here, even though they are here repeatedly, they have to stay at a high level and a high unusual level in order to stay on these Dreambot runs. And all of them are doing this. Now, alligator fell off. Gator stays elevated. Number 1 word is limb. You could attach that to any one of these memes. But we have gator, cursed, shred, snake, scary. So a couple of those words are new, and it is a very reptilian. So one of the memes is reptilians, then son of man, and then just travel. The flying thing was more attached to just moving forward. So now we get into more of the astrology. This is the Aries cycle that I talked about, the 6-month cycle. We're also in the 30-day new moon Aries cycle. So we're not quite yet to another new moon. Next CIRF report, we'll have our Taurus new moon. The current energy window, even though we still have that energy of the rising Phoenix still apparent, and more than just the Aries parts here, which we'll describe. But the official window is going to be the gold rush. And so that's a whole separate video. If you're interested in that, I encourage you to re-look at that again. All right, this week, we are in the last week of April, and then I'll have a little introduction into May. So this chart will take a little bit. Here, first we have Mercury going station and direct. That'll be in our first charts, our day-to-day charts. And then we'll have Venus moving signs, Mars moving signs, and then we have Mars and Neptune going conjunct that we'll have to talk about. And then we get into May. So we only have one day. It's just the first. But just to give you an overview of the whole picture of May, you have the new moon on the 7th. You have the full moon in Sagittarius on the 23rd. That's after the sun goes into Gemini. And you can kind of see, here's where Venus is changing signs going into Gemini and how close those are. So that implies that they're hand in hand coming together, coming into Gemini, and then that cocktail party will start. We got the pictures down here. The bulk of this first 3 weeks is still the 3 weeks in May is still the gold rush energy window. And then we get into the cocktail party once enough players are coming into Gemini for one big, it's going to be a real pleasant time in my estimation. Looking forward to that energy window. All right, Thursday, the 25th, where do we begin? We look at Mercury. Mercury is on this chart at just midday, is a station. In other words, he has halted his backward progress, his retrograde movement, and stopped, apparent to us, and stopped very close to conjunction with the North Node. And so this Mercury station is aligning with your personal destiny, because that's what the North Node is, a very karmic path forward. And in Aries is a identity. And so it's the compass, the trailblazer. The North Node represents our soul's evolutionary path and the lessons we are meant to embrace. And then as Mercury stations direct conjunct with this significant point, it symbolizes a powerful alignment between our thoughts, words, and higher purpose. And just as the compass needle points to true north, this cosmic configuration provides a clear sense of direction and alignment with our destined journey. So this is our first kind of archetypical justification for kind of that new earth flare, or at least a glimpse. We're going to get a glimpse of what our future is. And this is more than just a glimpse, though. This like sets us off into our destined future, particularly individually. And as we all kind of align in our future, that puts our collective on our true north. And the alignment ignites courageous expression because it is a spotlight on Mercury with the compass of the North Node, but it inspires newfound boldness in communication, feels like a trailblazer forging a new path, easier to speak your own truth, maybe pioneering novel ideas, and confidently pursuing your passions with a clear sense of direction. And that's all just with the Mercury station and over the North Node. But as you can see, we have Mars and Neptune getting close to each other. And so we can talk briefly about that, going into more detail later. It's the warrior's dreamscape, the mystical warrior. It's the unifier of dissolving boundaries. So there is a togetherness because this is happening in Pisces. But there are illusions, there are risks, but there's also huge benefits, and those would be heightened intuition and psychic sensitivity, an ability to channel creative inspiration into meaningful and healing actions. It's the inspired action or the visionary activist. We'll talk a little more about that as they get closer. Now, this is Friday the 26th at 1:26 a.m. on April 26th in Central Daylight Time. And this is when Mercury now is officially moved forward, moving direct. Excuse me. And so this is reminiscent or bringing the lessons from our Mercury retrograde. Remember, Mercury was boy, a lot of tongue twisters. Mercury retrograde during the eclipse. The eclipse, a very profound, transformative experience for all of us collectively. Meanwhile, Mercury was picking up those last lessons of past knowledge, bringing them into the fore. And now we have our compass in place because of that North Node. Mercury is the symbol of the rising phoenix in and of itself, but it's bringing that retrograde experience and knowledge now moving forward. So now it can help us into the future. It's an energetic stamp of forward direction. With the feelings with this compass and this direct motion over the North Node, more conviction in decision making, more than just Mercury in Aries. Very high amounts of confidence, heightened ability to communicate authentically, and increased courage to pioneer new paths. Unafraid. All right, Saturday the 27th, still closer, Mars and Neptune. They're within a degree now, a degree orb. Again, this is midday on Saturday the 27th. And the archetype is a visionary activist. And how can we improve the collective? Mars and Neptune coming together in Pisces ignites a powerful fusion of inspiration and action. This energy empowers us to become visionary activists. And that means individuals who are fueled by a profound sense of idealism and a desire to manifest their dreams into reality. So with this energy, we'll be able to channel creative inspiration into meaningful action, but we'll be susceptible to escapism, potential for self-deception. There's a lot of illusion there, and might be vulnerable to addiction. So watch out for that. But here's your picture, or one of your pictures. It's the inspired action. It's the visionary activist. The visionary can kind of help out And you can see how synergistic this will be with the Mercury going direct over the North Node. They align perfectly. One's more individual, one's more collective. So we have a nice balance of both happening pretty much at the same time. And what's more about this Mars and Neptune being conjunct, and this is when they actually are conjunct perfectly at 11:30 p.m. on the 28th of April. They are also parallel, so it's intense. It's extra intensified. And so those pictures that I mentioned, think about how vivid those are, much more vivid. And now on Monday, we're going to start to see our rulers returning to their respective homes, and we're going to start with Venus. And now already you can see Venus, Sun, Uranus, and Jupiter. And Jupiter, Uranus still in a tight conjunction, going to be that way until June-ish. And this is our main characters of the gold rush, but you can see that the stellium of 4 planets, including the ruler Venus, helps out this gold rush window. And this is at 6:31 a.m. Central Daylight Time on the 29th. Venus is going to return home, and it's going to be the garden of earthly delights, earthy magnetism. You can even think of it as the earth goddess. Venus in Taurus emanates an earthy, sensual magnetism that draws others into its grounded, nurturing energy. A fertile earth goddess exudes an aura of abundance, fertility, and the promise of growth and opportunity. Now here's your picture. And the promise of growth. It invites us to connect with the natural world, to find beauty and simplicity, and to embrace our own inner radiance and worth. Opportunities here involve increased appreciation for the beauty in art and all the sensory pleasures. Because remember, Taurus is about all the senses. Here's another picture for you. It's the garden of earthy delights, enhanced self-worth, and a stronger sense of personal values. To really ground yourself and appreciate the simple things, but the profoundly valuable things that may not be monetarily, big. And with this energy, we'll have the ability to find contentment and joy in simple, everyday, earthy things. But it's not just Venus going into Taurus. She picks up a square over to Pluto. And so this brings a reformer of sorts. And he's in Aquarius, so it's a reformer of values. Reformer, transformer, Pluto, values, Venus and Taurus. So this energy, this square, puts a pressure on us to reevaluate our collective priorities and values. Puts extra emphasis on everything I just talked about with Venus coming in here into the earth sign of Taurus. Tuesday the 30th now it's Mars's turn. So 2 days in a row, we have the second ruler coming to their respective home, Mars coming into Aries. You think how many different battles he's been having to wage. He got disciplined and refined with Saturn and got sharpened, and skills are at new levels. And then the mystical fighter, but now coming into his own in Aries, it's the warrior's homecoming. And you can see the archetypical picture here as Mars, the planet of action, assertion, and desire, enters its home sign of Aries. It embodies the archetype of hero returning to its native land. And he hasn't been just on vacation. He's been, the hero's journey is about fighting the beast or the animal or something, the scary big animal way over his size, but as a boy. And then he returns, and this group or the village can't see him as the little boy anymore. He's grown up to a man. He's matured. And that's exactly what our Mars is doing as well, especially given the alignments that he's had leading up to this. It's the spark of initiation. It's the pioneering spirit, the trailblazer. This should allow us to feel increased energy and motivation, enthusiasm for new projects, enhanced confidence and ability to take initiative, feeling more courage. A lot of similar things that we heard from Mercury going direct. So yes, we have the energy window of the gold rush and the Taurus earthy energy, but we also still have that latent and strong, but highly subconscious is the rising phoenix from the Aries. So it's both. Then the risks with this Mars going into Aries is increased potential for conflicts or aggressive behavior, a difficulty in collaborating possibly, and a risk of burnout, signing up for too much. And then I'd be remiss if I didn't say Pluto again. Now Mars immediately picks up multiple sextiles. Well, that's because the moon is there as well at this time. This is 10:32 a.m. Central Daylight Time on the 30th. That's when Mars goes into Aries, picks up a sextile. This is opportunistic with Pluto. So an opportunity to transform, but it's a rebel's alliance because you've got Pluto, transformer, but also in Aquarius, the rebel. And you've got the warrior home, so strong and able and on fire. So we've got a fusion of courage and revolution on our hands. And this could be a quantum leap. Here's our next kind of opportunity to get a glimpse of this new Earth is the quantum leap archetype of combining drive and initiative with societal transformation. It's the idea of changing yourself, you change your world, you transform your world, and it's opportunistic. So it's not a pressure. It's just if you're aware of it and you jump on this opportunity, it ignites this alignment and you get it. And so quantum leap could be part of our collective mind. If we put our mind to it, it might be up to us. And along those veins, the power networker archetype, skillfully building alliances for mutual empowerment that amplify your ability to affect change. How does that sound? Mm-hmm. And so you have all these alignments that are all coming together at the same time, all point to, basically a hero's journey, not for all of us individually, but as a collective, if you can imagine all that. And especially because Pluto is the pivot point to all this. Pluto, very transformative. And we have the opportunity with the sextiles over to Mars, but we also have the pressure to reevaluate with our Earth goddess in Venus in Taurus. So here's what we have. Splitting apart, hexagram 23, and change lines 2 and 5. And so basically, the changing fifth line, quote, "The superior man splits apart the hide of a cow by the yellow ox. There is good fortune." That is the fifth change line. But putting it all together, the line suggests the involvement of a powerful and influential figure who can help navigate the challenges of the situation. The yellow ox represents a strong ally or a resource that can be leveraged to overcome obstacles and bring about a positive outcome. Now, I don't know about the word yellow, but the word ox is very synchronistic with Taurus and the energy window that we have. We have Venus coming in there with a stellium and the Jupiter-Uranus aspect. So it's all about Taurus in the charts. But here's what you get according to the I-Ching: a sense of hope and trepidation regarding the involvement of a powerful ally. Change line 2 has a lot to do with the ally. That's why it's there. the individual may worry about losing autonomy or being swept up in the agenda of the powerful associate. A sense of heightened stakes and urgency. The individual may feel pressure to act quickly or decisively to capitalize on opportunities presented by this alliance. All right, we need to summarize the influence, and then we can get to the really important part of the solution. But here we go, and I've got the picture of the splitting Earth, and I'm not predicting that we're going to split this week, but I think at a minimum, we're going to see some glimpses of this from a variety of reasons. The big, energetic, and transformative archetypes emerge this week. In Aries, Mercury goes direct, and then later, Mars, the war hero, returns home. In Taurus, the ruling Earth goddess Venus has us wanting to all feel the earthly delights inferring increased desire for value, worth, and a sensory climax. But major paths to Pluto from multiple angles spark off transformative expectations and demands. It's a hero's journey for the collective, while the I-Ching suggests a very positive splitting as the main influence. Could the new Earth be manifest this week? Question mark. I'm not predicting it, but it would be cool if we saw that, wouldn't it? All right, let's go into the solution. Put the change lines in. We get 59, dispersing. All right, the first thing to dissolve is any mental rigidity that might be feeding a sense of separation from others. Now, this is ironic because this week, the fixed signs are dominant. In other words, people are kind of digging in their heels and getting real rigid about what they think they know. And basically, the I-Ching solution is saying, hey, you want to not do that. Let go of any rigid strategies or fixed ideas. It's like going directly against the energy of fixed. There's 6 fixed signs in most of these days this week. Don't get too attached to specific positions. Stay focused on your goals, but be willing to adjust your path as circumstances shift. Now, the neat thing with the energy is that Mercury stationed direct is going to really help with this. Also, Mars in just Mercury direct, because Mercury is adaptable. Remember that success in the situation will come from adaptable, open mind, and a resilient in the face of change. Let's put our the biggest energy here, in my opinion, because we're in the energy window of the gold rush, is Venus going into homeland of Taurus. And that is energetically the strongest this week. And it's the hexagram 3. It's basically the same line and rave and sidereal astrology that we saw last time with Sun going into Taurus, because it's the exact same spot there. So it's charisma, innate quality, which attracts valued guidance. So there we go. We need the psychic attunement that magnetizes nurturing, a psychic energy which attracts nourishment and ensures ordering. It's attracting valued guidance. All right, here's your solution matrix. The I-Ching says be adaptable, like this little quick dog that goes in and out really fast through the poles. And then we have the valued guidance from last time. This is actually, it's a dynamic of receiving and giving advice, but also getting advice, asking for guidance, and not thinking you know everything. Remember, it's fixed energy. So your tendency is going to be that you know more than you think you do, possibly. There's a good chance of that. So be on the lookout for overconfidence. It doesn't mean that just automatically second guess everything, but check your fixed mentalities this week. That's a big one. Be adaptable, be open to guidance, be giving guidance as appropriate. Sidereal Aries. And then we got the last quarter moon. These are sort of on odds because Aries tends to want to expand, go forward, do stuff. And last quarter moon says, probably shouldn't. So we have a key triangulation to do. The solution this week is remarkably similar to last week because of the same rave and gate. That's the 0 degrees of Taurus, tropical Taurus. The main, that's actually Sidereal Aries as well. That's the first, that's the line that is exactly the same. 0 Taurus tropical is 0 Aries sidereal. The main difference this week from last week is the overlap between the I-Ching 59 and the last quarter moon. It's not as much social reliance as last week. So this week, less social reliance is indicated, but concentrate on being much more adaptable in this largely fixed energy. Use the Mercury and Mars energies above. Synergistically, try to instill a mindset of self-preservation, passion and confidence, and even aggressiveness if the situation warrants self-defense, but don't use otherwise. Don't just go around being aggressive because you have this extra Aries energy and you have the Aries sidereal. Be adaptable, especially with new insights or new guidance that matches your internal value compass. Caution is it's not a time to blindly follow others. Vet out the new data, adjust only if it makes sense to do that. But above all, be nimble, be quick, be rational. And then when you can, relax, start to rejuvenate, start to look back on this last 3 weeks and see if you can gain some insights that can carry you forward into the next new moon cycle. It's a time to reflect. Last quarter moon, start to quiet down, starting to putting things away, starting to close down projects or ending projects or just pausing them if they are longer projects. It's time to take a break. And then we have the runes. And the runes, I'm keeping the same. Tiwaz because it's the Aries eclipse cycle. And Dagas because if we are getting glimpses of the new earth, or if we are going into the new earth, I want this transformation to be successful. And so the Dagas is for breakthrough, it's for hope, it's very positive, daylight transformation, harmony and clarity. I will help humanity through this needed transformation, exclamation point. And that's why I'm using Dagas again. I thought that was this last week energetically felt good to wear the Dagas. I don't know if I've ever done that before, but it seemed to have a pretty good effect. All right. Well, I think that does it, folks. I'll put this solution slide up so you can see it. I love this picture. The earth splitting. Got my fingers crossed, but I'm not willing to make that prediction. And I think it is a process over time. But does anybody know, does Dolores Cannon talk about the time frame that the splitting happens in? When Law of One talks about, can't think of that term. They don't use the term New Earth. The harvest, that's what they use. That harvest is they talk about a specific time frame, time period to start, but then later I think has a multi-decade time window that it happens in. So I don't know. Does anybody know? Anyway, look for the glimpses of the new earth. And when you can, imagine the earth that you want to be a part of. Is it conflicted? Is it demanding? Is it more of free will, a love? Is it about harmony? Is there peace around? Is there getting along? And if so, we have similar views about what earth that we want to be on, because that's me. All right, everybody. Next time we will talk more about Taurus, and we will have a new moon to discuss. I'm really looking forward to that cycle to finish off our gold rush energy window. All right, everybody. We will see you next time. Thanks for being here. Thanks for participating and sharing. See ya.